Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. An absolute joy to be with you again, and especially as it's a fog of war puzzle today. So do think about our apps which do feature fog of war as the latest one. It is a great fun type of solve because it's interactive with the grid. As you get numbers right, the fog clears and you find out more about what's hidden under the fog. I think that's why Fog of War is so popular. The other thing that is really good about it is it's a very educational puzzle often because you are directed to the one area of the grid where you have to look to find the answer to move forward. And that makes it a very linear solve, which doesn't matter so much, but it can kind of teach you where to focus your thinking sometimes. There are definitely puzzles, and I think it's really interesting, where if there was no fog, somebody sent us one recently where the fog version, the puzzles were exactly the same, but one of them had fog and one of them didn't. And incredibly, it was definitely true, I think. You can't do a control experiment. I believe it was true that the fog version was easier because it told you where to look, whereas the whole grid with a lot of clues in it could be a bit confusing. I think it's a really interesting development in Sudoku over the last couple of years. I'm delighted that we've not only brought you our ebook, which you can still seek out and get a copy of on the links under the video, but also that Fog of War app. Now, we do have loads of other apps, including Killer and Kropki Sudoku, no, Domino Sudoku is what I mean. So do check those out as well, and they all receive rave reviews all the time. They're excellent educational tools in their own right, and also just good fun. That's why we make them, to have you enjoy your brief time on this earth by solving Sudoku. Honestly, I believe that it makes lives better. Now, what else will make your life better? Well, Sven's Sudoku pad is available on the links under the video, and our merchandise. And not sure about our merch making your life better, but it might. You never know. Certainly you'll be identifiable as a fan of the channel when you go out. What else have we got? You won't go under the radar, to use today's puzzle title, if you're wearing one of Simon's favourite people t-shirts. Now, what else have we got? We've got all of our content on Patreon, which this month includes the April Foolery Sudoku hunt involving a certain amount of tomfoolery with bogus clues. There's only one bogus clue in each puzzle. It's not a full Roggen experience, but that can be very discombobulating. So check it out. People have been saying that they're really good. You can try any one puzzle. You don't have to start with puzzle number one. It's up to you. But you will enjoy the series, I believe, if you have a little bit of time to spare. Do join us on Patreon. We have connections videos, crossword videos, and solutions to past month hunts, and the occasional long Sudoku solved by Simon. So always interesting stuff. Now, let's have a look at the rules. They're quite long, but there's one new rule. But apart from that, I think it's all stuff we've seen before. So don't be in too much trepidation. So this is by Guru, who I don't know at all. I cannot comment on Guru's puzzles because I've never seen one before, to my knowledge. Apologies if I have, but I'm not aware of it. And the puzzle, as I say, is called Under the Radar. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so 1 to 9 will go in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Hidden in the grid, to be placed by the solver, are 9 radar cells, 1 in each row, column, and 3x3 box. So let's just sketch out a possible array of such cells. Why couldn't they look like that, for instance? That could be the 9 radar cells. A radar cell looks out at the edges of the grid in each of the orthogonal directions and potentially scans the cell at each edge. The digit in a radar cell indicates the number of cells scanned by the radar cell, but the value of a radar cell is the total of the digits in the cells scanned by the radar cell. For example, suppose row 4, column 5 was a radar cell. It would then be looking at so it's that one, let's just put a 5 in it to indicate where I'm starting. That would be looking at these 4 cells on the far edges. if the digit in the radar cell, and those are the cells it's potentially scanning, if the digit in this cell was a 4, then it would scan all of those digits, and the value of that cell would be the value of those 4 digits added together. If, however, this was a 1, it would be adding only one of those cells to get its value. If it was a 2, you would choose 2 of them. I mean, it's a bit strange. Also, a radar cell never scans itself. So if this is a radar cell, the 3 potential radar cells it's looking at are there, there, and there. And it can only look at those. It can't look at itself. Now, I mean, that is an interesting rule. The full set of rules that comes up with the puzzle explains 2 examples, including the one I went through in some detail. So that will help if you're bothered by that rule. I've never encountered radar cells before. I don't know how they're going to work. Now, the fog here is dynamic, so placing a correct digit will clear the fog from that cell and potentially from other cells somewhere in the grid, at the constructor's discretion, basically. We have apparently German whispers lines, although we can't see any, and adjacent values on a green line. Imagine there was a green line connecting those 2 cells. Adjacent values would have a difference of at least 5. There are decrypted German whispers lines. Adjacent digits on a brown line. Let's picture our brown line in those cells. Oh, hang on, I didn't read that carefully enough. So for German whispers, it's adjacent values on a green line. Remember the values that radar cells can have. And they have a difference of at least 5. On a brown line, it's adjacent digits on a brown line. Never mind their values, have a difference of at least 5. Then there are pink lines. They are Renban lines, and values on those lines form a set of consecutive numbers without repeats in any order. There are killer cages. We can see one of these starting there. Digits within a cage do not repeat, and the values within a cage sum to the clue in the top left corner of the cage. And there are Kropke dots. We can see one here. Values separated by a black dot have a 2:1 ratio. Values again. Values separated by a white dot, let's imagine one here, are consecutive. Not all dots are necessarily given. So for all of those rules, apart from the brown lines, it's the values that matter. For brown lines, it's digits that have the German whispers difference of 5 at least. So, I mean, maybe that is a complicated rule set. It's certainly exciting. Do give the puzzle a try on the first link under the video, especially if you like Fog of War. I'm going to give it a go now, because I do. Let's get cracking. So where is our attention directed? Up here? Round here? No. It's down here. What's going on down here? We've got at least a 4-cell cage containing a 10. We've got a black dot. You see, what the heck? This is really strange. The way I read this rule about radar cells is it is adding uncertainty to the grid. It's making certain cells which have certain digits in have a completely different value. And that is adding to the content of the grid and making things harder than usual to establish actual values. Obviously, in a regular Sudoku puzzle, every digit has its own value. Not in this one. It is weirder than that. And it is weirder 9 times. Did it say that the digits 1 to 9 appear in the radar cells? No, it didn't. That is not part of this. Okay. But what I'm thinking down here is that if this was a normal puzzle with no radar cells, I don't think you could place a digit. So how is the radar cell rule going to enable us to? The reason I don't think you could place a digit is you would say that this 4-cell cage, and it could only be 4 cells because the minimum value of those 4 cells would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, adding up to 10. And basically you wouldn't know what was on the black dot. You'd know it was either a 1-2 pair or a 2-4 pair. And then apart from that, you wouldn't know where any cell went in that cage. You'd have 6, 7, 8, 9 in the rest of the box, and you wouldn't know where they go. So this is incredible, actually. This is incredible. There must be something about the radar rule that is going to allow me to place a digit. What on earth is it? Okay, here's something I thought when I was telling you about this being a potential radar cell. And I should have thought about it when I was talking about this one. The digit in a radar cell is 1, 2, 3, or 4, because the maximum, because it is telling you how many of the available potential cells it's scanning, and then that has a maximum of 4 from the 4 edges of the grid. In this cell, the maximum digit is 3. If it was a radar cell, the maximum digit is 3. So, all the radar cells in the puzzle, this is why when I asked a moment ago, is the set of radar cells the digits 1 to 9? That was a fatuous question. You can't have a 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 in a radar cell. And I'd sort of seen that before and totally forgotten it. But it's true. Now, that's quite interesting, because if this cage was 4 cells big and did contain the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, one of them would have to be a radar cell, and its value would not be well, now I don't know. Why couldn't a radar cell have a value? The value of a radar cell is the value of digits it's scanning. If 1 was a radar cell, its value can never be 1, because let's just imagine this is a 1. Whichever of these 3 cells it's scanning to take its value, that's not allowed to be a 1 by Sudoku. So if 1 was a radar cell, its value would be higher. And that means that in this cage, 1 is not a radar cell, because its value would then be higher, and you'd be adding that to the minimum 2, 3, and 4 you could then put in the cage, and you'd get more than 10. So does this print? Yes, if you put a 2 in a radar cell and you scan 2 digits that it can see, well, they could both be 1s. So then the value would be the same. Yeah, I see. That's incredible. Only to 2 does that apply. Do you see what I'm saying? If this was a 1, well, yeah, I mean, let's just take this, let's colour this green. If that was a 1, these would be the potentially available cells for it to scan, but it would only scan 1 of them. None of them could be a 1. So the 1 in that cell, or rather that cell, would have a value of more than 1, because it would have a value of 1 of these yellow digits, which would have to be more than 1. If it was a 3, it would be scanning all 3 of those. And its value would have to be more than 3, because you can't put 1 in all of those 3, because that would create a clash in column 1. And that same principle must apply for a 4. You couldn't have a 4 here because there aren't 4 cells it can see. So let's try a 4 in this cell. And the digits it sees on the outside, they can't all be 1s. The 4 would have a value of at least 6. And that's really interesting. Only the 2, the potential digit 2, let's imagine this was a 2 and those were both 1s. Yes, that would then work. That would, well, what would work is that 2 could then have a value of 2 as a radar cell. So let's take this in order. First of all, let's eliminate the possibility that any of these are radar cells in this box, because they would have a 1, 2, 3 or 4 in. The minimum value of these digits then would be 12. And they would all be in the cage and they would all have their own genuine value. And the cage would break. So none of those digits are the radar cell. The 5 can never be a radar cell because it can't see 5 edge cells. So one of these digits is a radar cell. And it's the 2. Because otherwise, whichever digit is the radar cell has a value of more than the radar cell, and that takes the value of 4 different cells in this box up to more than 10. This is amazing, by the way. This is an amazing start to this puzzle. I almost don't care what happens to the rest of the puzzle. It's absolutely brilliant. What we now know is that 2 is the radar cell in this puzzle. And what's more, that 2, which is in one of these 4 cells, is going to see 1s in 2 of the edges it can see. So if that's a 2, it's going to see a 1 here and a 1 either here or here. If this is a 2, there's going to be 1s in both corners. Now that is not going to happen because that would keep a 1 out of this cage. So the 2 is not there. And in the cage, the 2 is going to have a value of 2. So the values in the cage are 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this black dot is going to contain a 2. And we've just proved that it can't be here. Because if they were both 1s, you couldn't get a 1 into this cage. That is immense. That is immense. This is the 2. And this is going to clear some fog, surely, because it's the only digit we can determine. It didn't. It didn't. But it's the radar. What? Oh my goodness. I'm certain this is right. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. I was going to say, but I don't know anything else I do. That 2 is picking up 2 values of 1. One of them is in one of these cells, but one of them is up here. So this is a 1, and there we go. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, that was fun. The biggest achievement of this puzzle is to create a rule that, although it creates uncertainty, makes the puzzle beginnable, despite a setup that would stop a regular Sudoku being beginnable. That is incredible. That's a 1 and that's a 3. That is absolutely mind-blowing. I don't know what's happened here, Guru. Right. I'm going to colour these cells green because they can't have radar cells in now. Remember, there's only 1 radar cell per row, column and 3x3 box. And we found it here. Now that 2, it's getting its 2 1s there and there. This cell can be anything. It's just not relevant. It's not being scanned by this radar cell. Now I'm, okay. I was going to say, now I'm absolutely terrified because I can't see what else we can do next. I've only just noticed there's a 6 cage starting here. So that's got a 1 in it. And this is not a radar cell, because we've cleared it as green. I can see a possibility where this is a 1, 3, 2 cage going that way or that way. Right. I mean, again, it's the same principle, only a little bit extended now. What is the radar cell in this box? What digit is it going to contain? And don't tell me 4 is a possibility, and I'll tell you why not. We've got a 4 there, so these digits can't have a 4 in. These digits are not radar cells. So although in a normal box, any non-perimeter digit could have a 4 in and be a radar cell, not here. So the radar cell is not a 4 in any of those cells. And therefore in this box, the radar cell is not a 4. So the radar cell in this box is a 2 or a 3. This cage cannot be a 2-cell cage because this is a normal cell and it's not allowed to be a 5. It's not a radar cell. So this cage has to be 3 cells big, including this cell and this cell. And I think we've got the same principle again. A 3 can never have a value of 3, but a 2 can have a value of 2. So that's what we're going to have to have. We're going to have a 1, 2, 3 in the cage, and the 2 is going to have a value of 2 by being able to minesweep or radar 2 1s on the edges of the grid. So this digit is a 3 because it's not allowed to be a 2. And the radar digit, we now know the shape of the cage is here. That's a 2 and is the radar digit. So and that cleared fog, so I think I'm right. So I'm colouring in non-radar cells now. Now, these are natural cells and they've got a black dot. They are a 4 and an 8, and we know the order because they can't use 1, 2, and 3. This 2, by the way, has to see a 1 there. It doesn't get a 1 there, so it is going to get a 1 here. Aha! And that's, oh, hang on. I don't know what line this is. Sorry, I've used a bad background colour, haven't I? Let's go with the light blue that some people can't see for non-radar cells. I think on the fog, actually, you'll be able to see it. And that's got a green German whisper line. Now, that is a line that it's the values that count. However, it's in a row where we've already had a radar cell. So these are natural values. So that, I think we can treat that as a normal German whispers line. 4 and 9 because the low digit can't be 1, 2 or 3. To maintain the difference of 5, that's got to be a 4-9 pair. Now, I am noticing this 48 cage and going, how the heck can that be 48? But I'm just trying to do some other stuff first because that's scary. I'll tell you what, there's a 4 in one of these cells and it's its natural value. There is no radar cell here. So in fact, this is a 4, 5, 6 cage. This information about every radar cell has 1, 2, 3 or 4 in it is vital. If you don't figure that one out, you can't solve this puzzle. And I wouldn't feel bad because I might never have figured that out. It's an odd, actually in column 1 I can place 8 now. It's got to be there. Oh, there we go. It's an oddity of the job, which involves explaining the puzzle's rules, that sometimes as you're doing that, it occurs to you what they mean, what they might even mean in the puzzle. I mean, although I did actually realize when I was talking about this possible cell as a radar cell, that it couldn't contain more than 1, 2 or 3, I managed not to bring that forward at first into my solving of the puzzle. So that's a 5, 6 pair. We can't have 6 there. That's a 6. This group of cells is the remaining values, not values, the remaining digits in this column, which are 7, 8, 9. These ones are 1, 2, 3. Now that's a very strange black dot. You would normally say that just doesn't work. So we're going to have to deploy a radar cell, and it's not allowed to be here because we've coloured it blue, so it's there. Now, I'm just going to do the colouring, and then I'm going to try and work out how it works. Again, it's a radar cell with a 1, 2 or 3 in it. That's good. We know that's necessary. But what is the digit? We're going to have a black dot relationship between these cells, but don't assume that they have to have regular Sudoku values, although they could. If this was a 1, it could be just counting that 4, and this would be an 8, and that would have a value of 4, and that would have a value of 8, and that would be a very normal looking black dot relationship. But imagine this was a 9. Now normally you say 9 can't go on a black dot. Well, in this puzzle it could, because this could have a value of 18 if you added 3 digits that it was seeing on the corners of the grid. 3 of these digits could add up to 18, as long as this one over here was quite big. And I think what that means is we can't really do anything. I can't say what these, I thought when I got these, I'd be able to identify what these two digits were, what this radar cell was operating as, and maybe even what digits went in its vertices, but I absolutely can't. So we're gonna, well, the 16 cage, I don't know, this could be a radar cell, and that just, if this was a natural cell, this is a 7-9 pair, that's fine. But if it's not, who the heck knows? And this is where the uncertainty I was expecting at the start comes in. I just don't think I can do anything there. Oh, hang on though, they've cleared the fog. There's no line or other marking there, but it can still be a radar cell. Yeah, clearing the fog doesn't make it non-radar. Right, let's look at the 48 cage, because it's now, again, all I've got to go on is this 48 cage. What is going on here? We've got a brown line, and that, although it's been given a name, what was the name? Decrypted German Whispers. Actually, this is helpful. The brown line is better than a green line because it means the digits obey German whisper rules. Now, I don't know how that helps at the moment. I don't know how it helps at all. What I do know is there's a radar cell in this cage. So I could actually colour everything else in the box blue. Ah. No, I was thinking that matters for these two. I don't think it does. Let's think about how we're going to get up to a value of 48. We could have two of the cells in this cage will be natural. They could be a 9 and an 8. That's 17. So the minimum value of the radar cell is 31, the remaining amount needed to take 17 up to 48. How are we going to get to 31 in a radar cell? And I'm wondering, does it mean we have to have a 4 in the radar cell? I think it does. Yes, you can't. Yes, of course it does. I'm sorry. If you had a 3 there, let's say it was here, the most it could add would be 9, 8, 9, which add up to 26. But we need a minimum value of 31 from the radar cell. So it is going to be a 4. And I think that means it's not sitting here because of the brown line. Because these two would both have to be 9s, because we're only looking at the digit. So there is a radar cell of 4 in this cage, and it's not there. It's in one of these two, and it's a 4. And the values it's taking are going to be from that cell, and one of those two and one of those two. And we're going to have to get up to at least 31. Now, there's not a lot of degrees of freedom, especially as this is not 9 or 8. Let's imagine that's the most it can be, i.e. a 6. With a 9 here, that's 15, plus a 9 up here and an 8 down here. That is 32 rather than 31. There's 1 degree of freedom. So it doesn't quite have to pan out that way, but it nearly does. I was going to say, excitingly, I can take 4 out of that cell because there's only 1 degree of freedom from the maximum 6. But I could have done that anyway by Sudoku. Now, next thing is there is an 8 or a 9 here, because that cell is definitely being counted. Let's actually just do a bit of yellow for this radar cell's count. So what I'm saying here is, if the radar cell is there, we're counting those two, and they would have to be pretty high digits. They would have to add up to at least 16, 9, 7 or 9, 8. If the radar cell is here, it's these two that will have to add up to at least 16. Now, with those being radar cells, none of these are radar cells. Oh, there is more constraint. There is more constraint. It's quite important constraint, because How I got 31 as the minimum value was assuming the other two digits in this cage were 9 and 8. Well, again, they're subject to the 1 degree of freedom as well. So they are either 9 and 8 or 9 and 7. And there is definitely a 9 in the cage. And it's counted normally. And this digit is now 9, 8 or 7, i.e. definitely high. So these two are definitely low. I can't include 4 amongst the possibilities because 4 is in one of those two. So I've got a 1, 2, 3 triple in the row. Now, what next? Is it something to do with yeah, it's a bit strange. I mean, isn't the 987 thing gonna... No. I thought it was gonna mess with these values being very high. What I was thinking at first was if this was the radar cell 4, then these two would both be from 987 and would include a 9. And then you couldn't get a 9 onto the perimeter. But that is not the perimeter cells you'd be counting. If this was the radar cell, you'd be counting these. And you can easily get a 9 onto the perimeter and any other high digit you want. So I don't see how we can possibly isolate which of these two is a radar cell. One of them is, it's a 4. What am I misunderstanding? This cage is going to contain 2 very high digits, by which I mean from 7, 8, 9. Up here. No, I mean you can. There is a 7 and 8 amongst this group of cells based on row 2. I have noticed that before, so I'll just pencil mark it. So the only very high digit you can have here from 7, 8, 9. Well, yeah, okay. One of these is a 9 and is counting. But I don't know which one it is. But hang on, this is an X-wing. We've got a 9 in that cage, and now we've got a 9 in one of those 2 digits. So the 9 in column 4 is now down in one of these 3. So there are deductions you can still make. What on earth are you meant to do with that? I could put a 9 in this cage, and it could be... 9s are always natural, remember? Yeah, actually, this is a corollary of the thing about... 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I think my doorbell's about to ring. Sorry. Anyway, this is a corollary of my thing about 1, 2, 3, 4 are the only possible digits in radar cells. And it's a corollary I hadn't thought of before. Every time you get 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 in the puzzle, they have their natural value because they can't be radar cells. Why is it that that didn't occur to me immediately? I don't know, but it's true. Now the value down here that we're going to count in whichever of these cells turns out to be counted by the middle radar cell is going to be 7 or 8. So I don't know how to pencil mark these. One of these is a 7 or 8. One of these is a 7 or 8. I was going to say, does that have some effect on whether these can't both be 7 and 8? And I don't think it does. Unless I'm misunderstanding something about the columnar divisions. Okay, radar cell... I mean, this hasn't improved at all. This is difficult to resolve. What about placing radar cells? There is a radar cell in box 6, and it's in these 3. Oh, it can't contain 1, 2, or 3. Oh, I see. Is that right? Yes, it is right. The radar cell in this box has to have a digit of 1, 2, 3, or 4 in. It can't be in those rows because of the radar cells we've placed in those rows. So it is in this row, and it can't have a 1, 2, or a 3 in it. So it has a 4 in it. So it is, whatever the value of the radar cell in this box is, it's counting 4 cells, including these 2 and 2 from up here, and, or sorry, 1 from up there and 1 from down here. So we've got another radar cell here somewhere. Oh, and that means this can't be a 4. So this is a 4. Oh, and that clears, thank goodness that clears fog, because I just didn't know where we were going. I'm completely gobsmacked and stuck, and that's it. It's just working out that one of those is a 4 and you get a 4 hit. Oh, that's mad. It's crazy times. So I just have to leave this and come down to this crazy 29 cage. Okay, well, a 29 cage and 2 cells, something funky is going on. So I can fill in, I know this isn't a radar cell, so I know this is. So we found another radar cell. I can do a lot more bluing. Let's get rid of the yellow. Oh no, not, yes, let's get rid of the yellow from there and there, because they were counting what has now become this radar cell, which is a 4. And this one is now not radar. This is 9, 8 or 7 because of the count within the box. Yes. Ah, and that gives me a 7, 8, 9 triple in the row as well, because now this is counting. It's got a 9 here, hasn't it? I remember that. And this is now obviously not a 9. This is 7 or 8. And there's still this blooming degree of freedom surrounding all of these cells. And maybe I can't resolve that yet, but I have got this far. That is a 4. This is a radar. I haven't thought about this 29 cage. It was just placing a radar cell that got me all of that stuff. And I'm very pleased with it, if I'm frankly feeling a little smug about those last deductions. I think this puzzle is very complicated, by the way, and you know, maybe I'm just going about it in my general haphazard fashion, but oh, here's a little X-wing. Talking of haphazard, we've got 4s in both columns 7 and 8. So the 4 in column 9 is going to be in one of those 2 cells, and is not going to be, by the way, a radar cell, wherever it appears, because a 4 in that position can't find 4 cells to count. The 4s, when they appear as radar cells, are not on the perimeter. Now, this, however, could be a 4. And maybe, oh, it can't be a 3. How much has it got to count? 2 is not going to be enough, is it? If that was a 2, the most it could count are a 9 there and a 9 there. That's 18. So its value would be 18. You could add this 9 in again to the cage total, but it would only be 27, and that's not enough. So this is another 4. And that's now a 4. Oh, that cleared fog. That's glorious. Right, and that's not radar because it's a 4 and on the perimeter, so it can't be. So one of these is radar. Oh, all of these are blue now. There's radar in one of those 2 cells. I'm going to leave these yellows because that's what this is still counting. Now, what about the greens? Oh, we don't know anything about the value required. So let's come back here. This 29 cage. Okay, I need a new color for the perimeter. Let's go orange, maybe. These orange cells, plus, well, including this one twice, are going to add up to 29. Now, this cell's maximum value is 6 because 8 and 7 are there and 9 is there. So 6 is the maximum there. Let's say 9 here and 3 there. Oh, no, no, no. There's a load of degrees of freedom. It's so, but we haven't had this before, have we, where this cell counts double because that cell is counting it in the cage as part of its total of the orange cells, and then it has its own value in the 29 cage. That's very weird as well. Anyway, okay, let's come over here. That is a natural 4. This cell cannot contain a natural 8. It could contain a natural 2. If it is natural, it is a 2. If it's a radar cell, it's got a value of 8. It could be a 1, picking up that 8. It could be a 2 picking up those two. I mean, even the 4's in play. Oh, hang on, there's a green line under this blue cell. Had you seen that? I think I did see it, and then I forgot it. Right, what? This is a natural cell, so this is a 9. And that is contributing to the total of this 4 radar cells. So that is now getting 12 horizontally. And then these 3 cells, including that one twice, have to add up to 17 to make up the cage total. That one is at most a 6. So this doubled. I've forgotten the total. 9, 12, 18. Is at least 11. Wow, this is a big digit. Oh, this is really interesting because of these and this. This is at least 6. It's not 9 because there's a 9 in one of those. So I'm trying to count the value of this 29 cage, and I've got 9 and 3 is 12 contributing to this radar cell. Then that and this bottom cell again are going to make 17. So if that's an 8, this is a 1, which it can't be. Because to get the 17, you double the 8, 16 plus 1. If that's a 7, double 7 is 14, and that's a 3. And if this is a 6, double 6 is 12, and that's a 5. So this is 3 or 5. I thought that the high digits were going to tell me what it was, but they bloomin' didn't. I mean, we've still got 1 and 2 to place in this column. If that's not a 3, it's not quite enough. Oh, this is a natural cell. Oh, it's been available for ages. So that is a 7-9 pair adding to 16. Okay, that's maybe interesting for this row because the remaining digits are 1, 2, 3, and 5. Now, the radar cell here is not going to contain a 5. It's going to contain 1, 2, or 3. The value of this cell is definitely 2 or 8. And the value of this cell is therefore definitely 1, 3, 7, or 9. I don't think I can use that yet. I'm not even going to try. This is not a 9 because of that. In fact, that 9 has meant, oh, that green line extends. I hadn't seen that. There's always something new going on. Right, where are we now? That 7 has made this a 6. That's dealt with that. It's also made this an 8, which does, oh, that cleared fog. That does not take away the degree of freedom from this calculation. However, that 6 means that this is a 5. And let me just check that. The value of this cell, oh, it cleared fog so it was right, is 3, 12, 18, 23. And the value of this cell is 6. So the value of this cage is 29. That's what we were after. Good. This is where 9 goes in the box. This group of cells are 3, 5, 7. This is a non-radar cell touching a 9 on a whisper line. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, proving its position. This is an 8 since that became a 9, and that does take the degree of freedom. This is going to be a 6. Let me just check the calculation here. This, yeah, I'm going to be able to do these as well. This is going to add 6, the max there. 8 is 14, 8 is 22, 9 is 31. These are going to have to add up to 17 to make the cage total 48. So they are a 9-8 pair, and that 8 is telling us which way round they go as well. I don't think the difficulties in this puzzle are necessarily over, but we are making progress. Now, 8 on this black dot. The value of this cell is 4. Oh, look, this is quite interesting. The digit here by elimination in this column is 2, 5, 6, or 7. If this was a 2, this is a radar cell, remember. Oh, I was about to trap myself quite badly there. I was going to say it's got a value of 4. This is exactly the mistake I counselled you against making earlier. I've just done it myself. But I've spotted it as I've done it. If this was a 2, I was going to say. You can never get 2 of these cells to add up to 4 because their minimum value is a 2 plus 4. No, in fact, that couldn't be a 2. It would be 8. However, what am I missing there? I'm missing the very important point that this cell could have a value of 16, in which case we could add 4 and 4 and 6 and 2. Oh no, we could only do that if we had a 4 count in this. Oh, there you go. This gets very interesting. Okay, so a 2 count is actually never going to work because you can't get to 16, the maximum is 13, and you can't keep it down to 4. So 2 is wrong. 1 is definitely possible, counting either that 4 or that 4. Now, 3 would mean we were adding to 16. And I think the max here is 7, 6, 4 is 17. So you could just take 1 off that and have 6, 6, 4 or 7, 5, 4. And I think 3 is still possible here, so I don't think we can resolve that. And this is exactly what I meant about the difficulties are not over in this puzzle. Oh, that is a 5, 7 pair. This is a pair of natural digits. This is even. It can't be 4, it's 6 or 8. Actually, this is 6 or 8 in the box too. That's a 1, 2 pair. Now, that's going to get interesting. Just doing a little bit of Sudoku first before, in fact, I'm going to continue. This seems to see 5, 6 and 8. That is a definite 7 then. That's a definite 3. Honestly, I am going to come back to box 9 and its red digit because that's going to be interesting, but I haven't needed it yet. I mean, I am going to need it. They can't be 5, so that's a 5. That's a 6. Let's get rid of the corner mark there. 9, 5, 7. It's really weird that the radar digit here was fundamental to the puzzle, and yet I know nothing about it or its potential value or anything. Oh, there's a 1, 2, 3 triple. So 3 must be in one of those cells, and that's not 3. These are, that's a naked 5, given the 1, 2, 3 triple in its box. And that's 6, and that's 7. Oh, that's cleared. Fog. Magic. That 6 has sorted out 8 and 6. Oh, we've got a new cage appearing. Oh, we've got so much to do. So much to do. This has not been the problem in the puzzle before. Oh, it's getting interesting now. Right. Okay, let's... I might not need this cage next. Oh, I can get rid of all the orange and yellow colouring, can't I? Because it's all done. We worked it all out. And in fact, that will let me focus on the green colouring soon. Which I might not care about. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, that is 1, 2 or 3 in the column. There's a 4 in that box, and there it is. And in that position, it cannot be a radar cell 4. So that is the radar cell now, and is 1, 2 or 3, which is what a radar cell also always has to be. Right. Now, this is a value of 2 or 8, and it's counting 1 or 2 cells. Well, that's annoying. Or it's a natural cell. It can be a natural cell if it's a 2. If it's counting 1 digit from the perimeter, it could be that 8, or it could be a 2 up here. Yeah, forget it. I don't know. Let's look at this. This is in good shape. This is in very good shape. Okay, I think this is all natural Renban. And it can't have a 4 on it because the 4 in the box is there. So this has to be a 1, 2, 3 Renban. And what do I know about that? It gives me a 1, 2, 3 triple in this row and in the box. That can't be a 2. Now, this one was potentially a 3, but it was going to have to count that 6, one of the 4s, and then that would be a 6. Okay, that's still possible. That's so annoying. This could be a 1, or it could be a 3 if that's a 6. Okay. top row. Oh, look, I've got the other corner done. This is a 2 in this corner. Oh, look at that. All the fog clears. Not all the fog, but all the fog in that box clears and reveals nothing useful. What about radar in this column? It's there or there, isn't it? Yes, we've got radar there, and we've got radar in one of those cells, which I never marked for some reason. So that is the radar cell, and it's not doing anything, is it? Just sitting there, like a bit of old lemon. That is 5, 6, or 7. Green may not matter. We may not reveal anything that counts here. Now, we've got this 26 cage beginning, and I never looked at it. But I don't know how big it is, because there's fog all over lots of these cells. At least those have fog. And it's going to count this radar cell. I mean, I don't know. I need to know more, don't I? No, maybe I don't. I think, where is the fog cleared? Let's get rid of blue out of the grid, so I can see the fog more clearly. Okay, if this was a 1, how are you ever going to get up to 26? Even if the cage took in all of this, well, it would have repeat digits. That's not allowed, is it? No, digits don't repeat. So the only digits you could have in the cage are 8, 1, 2, and 3, which themselves add up to 14. Now, you could replace the 1 with a 9. That's the maximum change you could make. But you're only getting to 22. Not enough. So the cage must go further than this cell. No. This cell cannot be a 1. That's the point. That's the point I was reaching. Can it be a 2? Adding 9 and 9? Yes, it could. I mean, not specifically 9 and 9, or the cage total would go... Oh, the cage total will go to exactly 26. So maybe specifically 9 and 9. Oh, bother. So, I don't know. What are these digits? One of them is the radar 4. The other one is 5, 6, or 7. But isn't this... Oh, this is 9, isn't it? That's just Sudoku. That fixes the 4-9 pair up here. That puts the 4 here, and that is the radar cell we were looking for. So they are not coloured, and that is, this is natural here. So that's a 2. This is a 1. What is its value? Its value is going to be 1 or 3. Well, it can't be 1, so it's got to be 3, and that makes this a 3 at the top. That's fantastic. Oh, now that cage has stopped. Okay, I'll look at that in a moment. This is now a 2. That's a 1, 3 pair. We've got a 6 here, 8 there, 7, 5. That's a 7. Oh, how come I can't do the 5, 6 pair there? Or this. This is now not 4. This is 5, 6, or 7. It's not 7, actually. Okay, so it's this value is the next and maybe the last thing to do. We found all the radar cells. The value of this didn't matter, so I'm getting, it's not even in a cell that we're counting the value of, so I'm finally getting rid of my green. This brown line is fulfilled, whatever these two are. I mean, it may go on, in which case interesting, but it may not. This is the thing we have to work on. Now, I worked out one possibility that did work, which was that that was a 2, and those were adding up to the 18 needed for this cell. If that's a 3, yeah, you can't get to 18. You would have to take one of these... Oh, you can, actually. 9, 4, 5. Oh, bother. So I don't know. I don't know if this is a 2 or a 3. I've still got something big to deduce in the puzzle. Ah! Is there a radar cell that has a value that matters that I just haven't worked out? I've worked this one out. I got the 3. This one I've got all its edges. This one I've got all its edges. This one, this is the one, isn't it? But didn't I work out that both, no. No, look, this is a 5, isn't it? It sees 6 and 7 in its row. Oh, that's huge. And that does it. That does it. It's this one. This now cannot be a 3 because you can't get 16 out of 3 of these cells. They add up to 19. You'd have to remove a 3 out of one of them to get the total to 16. None of them are a 3. So that is a 1, and it is adding either that 4 or that 4. Doesn't matter which one. That's a 2. Might be able to finish by Sudoku now, which would be lovely, because I'm getting very confused by all the things I'm having to do with the funky cells. No, I can't fit. Oh, hang on, that's a 1. No, this is a deadly pattern remaining. So now maybe we can somehow do this. Yes, this can't be 9, 4 and 5 anymore because that's not a 5. So this is a 2, adding those 2 9s for its radar value. Did that not clear fog? Or maybe it did. That's a 3, that's a 1, that's a 3, this is 1, and that's 2. And there we go. What a fantastic puzzle. That puzzle should not go under the radar. That is a sad solve count of 12 in 38 days, because that is a fantastically fun puzzle. That's one of those you didn't want to miss, because it's so interesting. In some ways, to me, and I don't know why, the most interesting step was getting that one of those had to be a 4, because there had to be, yes, the radar cell here had no value. Like, it didn't matter what the value of this is. It happens to be 25. It's not being valued for anything, but it's vital that you had to have a low digit here, which couldn't be 1, 2 or 3. So it was 4, and then that couldn't be 4, and that was. Absolutely amazing. Guru has done a clever thing here, but my goodness, that beginning, I remember I said at the beginning, if nothing else happens in this puzzle, that beginning is brilliant, because it means you put an extra destabilizing rule in, and suddenly you can begin a puzzle that you couldn't begin without that rule. That is so funky. Love it. That is so clever. What a solve. What an enjoyable solve I've had. Hope to see you again on the channel tomorrow. If we get lucky, there'll be another puzzle just as good. The setters these days are doing incredible things. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.